Hey everybody, it's your boy Nathan Crash, and welcome to Nathan Crash Gets Bodied by the Internet. The Internet's favorite show. And if you're not familiar with how the format of the show works, basically, without being too long and drawn out, I read scary stories from Reddit, creepypasta websites, other places like that, and user submissions are always welcome. But I just read them. I give my thoughts on them, and I give them a 1 through 10 rating. It's pretty straightforward, and it's pretty fun in my opinion. And you're more than encouraged to do the same. To like, if you want to like, I don't know, have a story read. If there's a particular story you think I should read or want me to review, you can shoot it my way. You can submit a user review. You just fill out the form, and you can find those forms in the comment section. Basically, all you do is say, "Hey, yo, Nathan Crash, my boy, my dude, did you read this story?" And I'll check it out because I'm always looking for an excuse to interact with you guys. All you have to do to play the game, if you're gonna play along, is like the video and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories I read. Basically, it. For bonus kudos, you can subscribe to the channel, and you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nathan_Crash, where I do occasionally do Bodied by the Internet live. This story is a particularly sensitive subject because the subject matter, at least from the title alone, kind of hits a dark spot for me. It's very personal. It's something that I feel like I can relate to a little bit. The name of today's story is called "There's Something Wrong with My Cat" by user John Thomas 2692, and according to my calculations, this story was posted 5 hours ago, so this is a relatively fresh one. Let's dive right into it. All right, my cat is acting a bit off. She's a rescue, so of course she's got a couple of kinks to work out. This is a little more than that, though. She started by scratching the walls. Completely disregard. Oh, sweet Christ, what happened here? I don't know why I did that. Look, you see that? Whatever. Oh, that's weird. My computer's acting funny. I think this story's gonna be a lot scarier than we thought. Alright, she started by scratching the walls, completely disregarding the perfectly good scratching post right next to her. You guys see the mouse? Probably not. Alright. Completely disregarding the perfectly good scratching post right next to her. It seemed harmless enough, although they were rather high up on the wall. It wouldn't be any trouble to fix, though. It was just a simple matter of painting. JoJo does do this. This is not that weird. I mean, I guess the scratching really high up is kind of weird, but whatever. I mean, cats jump really high. They're like deceptively acrobatic. So this is not, so far nothing's triggering any red flags. Then she started pissing on the floors, even though she had a perfectly good litter box that I cleaned daily. And they weren't just your average cat-sized urine puddles. These were massive, impossibly large for the size of my cat. I was perplexed at the size and unsure of how to curb this behavior. I tried doing a Google search, checking pet owner forums, but all of the remedies I found didn't seem to help at all. Again, this just seems some general ass boof cat behavior. JoJo, as well behaved as he is, every now and then he gets a little rowdy, you know. He likes to and like that's the thing about cat. Again, deceptively agile, deceptively large bladders, because they can pee for days. They got a lot of pee stored up in them. That's why they're so smart, because their pee is not just stored in their balls, it's stored in their brain. And cats are pretty smart. So far, again, nothing really triggering. It just seems like you have a maladjusted cat so far. Was it something I was going to just have to accept and live with? No, you could train the cat. Maybe another way of marking her territory, or just a strange thing she picked up from the previous owner. I didn't know anything about the cat before I brought her home. She was pretty small, somewhat malnourished and skittish, but overall seemed to be a pretty loving cat. I figured she came from an abusive or neglectful home. I tried not to think too much about her life before me. As far as I was concerned, she had always been my cat. Then the nighttime wailing began. Okay, that was just like a strangely put together set. I know what you're thinking. Cats go crazy at night. It's a known fact. And that is true, but something about the way she meowed. The way she seemed to be calling out to something in groans that sounded more like some sort of lost language than the cat's meow that sent shivers down my spine. It was something that resembled a song, rhythmic and repeating over and over again. Although, all through the night. Okay, that was just... I don't know why my brain just farted. I just ignore it, forcing myself to lay in bed and accept what was happening just beyond my bedroom door. If I wasn't able to fall asleep, which seemed like it was just about every night, I'd have a bit of chemical help in the form of Ambien. The little magic sleeping pill that made me go lights out in 20 minutes flat. I'd wake up in the morning, the dead mice, rats, and even rabbits placed just inside my bedroom door. Not my front door, no, these would be inside my house, sitting right outside my door as I stepped out morning to make a cup of coffee. This person, I could relate an awful lot to this person because it seems like their daily ritual is pretty similar to mine. Because Jojo leaves dead animals in front of my door all the time, and he sometimes brings dead animals into the house and does leave him in front of my door. Again, this is not scary. Your cat's just very appreciative of you and kind of respects you, or he/she, I'm not gonna assume the gender of your cat, thinks you're a shitty hunter, but you know, that's fine. That's fine. So far, so good. This doesn't seem too weird. Okay. Also, I do make coffee. I do make coffee every morning. This is another thing I can relate to. Once I stepped on a dead bird, like when I walked out to make coffee. That was probably the first time Jojo ever did that, and he's pretty infrequent about bringing them inside the house. He usually leaves them outside, and I'll be like, "Oh, thanks, Jojo," and I'll pretend like I'm gonna bring it inside and eat it, and I just like throw it in the garbage. But yeah, sometimes I bury them if the animal's too big to just trash. Brought me like whole rabbits before. It's kind of... Cat's a weird guy. My phone's going off because I'm a popular dude. Let me silence that real quick. The first one was unexpected, and naturally I stepped right on its detached head. I can relate. It crunched beneath my feet, sending brain matter, blood, and viscera shooting up between my toes and oozing out the cracks. I nearly vomited, barely holding it back as I launched myself towards the bathroom. I searched the house up and down for any way she might have been escaping. A cracked window, or perhaps the dryer vent wasn't secured properly. After hours of searching, I came up with nothing. My house was sealed tight. There was no way for her to escape. I thought that maybe she was just doing her job. She was a predator after all. She seemed to be a damn good hunter who kept my house free of unwanted critters and pests. I could live with that. I learned to keep an eye out as I exited my bedroom in the morning like clockwork. I'd wake up and exit my room at 7 a.m. and there they were, like little gifts, their heads torn clean off their bodies and placed carefully aside. My cat would simply sit on the armrest of my couch, watching and purring happily. It even looked like she had a little smile on her face. It was the cutest thing to see her so happy, so proud of herself that she was completing her task so efficiently. Next gift she left me was a bit bigger. When I stepped out of my room in my normal routine just like any other day, I was greeted by a scene of gruesome horror. Blood splashed my walls, caked on all my furniture and pulled up just in front of my door. Eesh, kinda fucked up. My arms began shaking with a rush of anxiety that took hold of me and refused to let go. My breath became short and my heart began to leap from my chest. When I looked over at my cat, she seemed pleased, like any other day. She purred happily, staring at me with a Cheshire cat grin smug on her face. She was coated in bright red blood and had something floppy dangling from her mouth. When I looked down at the gift she had brought me, I nearly collapsed. My legs began to wobble, my vision blurred, and this deep-seated panic settled in my bones. Okay, this is where the story gets... It was my neighbor, Bill. He was lying on the floor, just like every other gift she'd left me. He was placed meticulously on the floor with his head torn from his neck. I stared in frozen shock for what seemed like hours. A quick meow from my cat brought me back to my senses. This time, I wasn't able to hold the bile in my stomach. This time, I hurled it out, violently coating Bill's dead body in a thin layer of yellow stomach acid. It was incomprehensible, inexplicable, and inconceivable that my cat could or would do this. I put that aside though. I had an issue to deal with, and there was no way the authorities would believe that my small little house cat had something to do with this. No one would. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like, you could just be like, yo, there's been dead animals showing up in my front door that now there's a dead body. There's like really no way they could like, you don't have a murder weapon with your fingerprints. Like, honestly, this is the infinitely more like suspicious thing to do. So here, I'm gonna like, we're gonna take a sec. We're gonna take a sec from the story because I want to have like a PSA, a Nathan Crash pro tip, right? For you guys, because like this seems like an important thing to like talk about. So like, if for whatever reason a murdered body shows up in your house, like, don't not tell the authorities because you think it's gonna look suspicious. You're gonna look 1,000 times more suspicious trying to hide a dead body, and you're gonna have a much harder time trying to explain it away when you do get caught. Because let's face it, OP is probably a dipshit and he's gonna get caught at some point. And you know, no one, like, look, I don't care if you're good at like disposing dead bodies without people not knowing. Like, let's assume like there's no justice to be had. Also, that doesn't alleviate your problem, because it's just like, who knows what happens next, dude? Like, this is a stupid like way to solve a problem. So here's my Nathan Crash pro tip: a dead body shows up at your house, you call the police. You don't hide it, and you don't do any incriminating shit, like, you know, like barfing all over it is one thing, because, you know, I'd probably barf if I seen a dead body. But like, don't do what OP's doing. I'm just trying to look out for you guys, because Nathan Crash doesn't want you to go to jail. Because if you guys go to jail, then you guys can't follow me on Twitch, and you guys can't subscribe and give me all your money. So there's my PSA for the day. I hope it like at least impacted you in some way, and that you don't go to jail in the near future. Back to the story. After scrambling around my house, shutting all the curtains and closing the blinds, I found myself in a bit of a predicament. The only solution, obviously, was to clean things up. That's not the only solution. See, I take issue with it. I started with the body. Best to get rid of the big hulking massive man before it started stinking up the place. It wasn't difficult to get rid of either. I took a couple trash bags, sealed them up inside, and brought them out to my garage. I popped the trunk of my car. I popped open the trunk of my car and heaved them inside. The blood and guts were a bit more of a challenge. My floors were coated in a thick, slowly hardening layer of bright red, viscous blood. My couches were definitely ruined. I'd have to get a new living room set before allowing anyone to come inside my house. After hours upon hours of cleaning, things seemed to be in pretty good shape. I'd gotten the stains out of my flooring for the most part. The new reddish-brown hue of the couch actually had started to grow on me, and there was not a single speck of blood left anywhere in this house. As my dad would say, "You done good, kid." I heard my doorbell ring as I sank into my sofa. "Hey, James." "Oh, hey, James." The voice of my sister shouted through the door. "It's Trina, let me in." Oh shit, I thought, jumping to my feet. She told me a couple of days ago that she was going to come by, and I had completely forgot. Conveniently. "1 second," I shouted as I ran into my bedroom. I quickly stripped off all my blood-soaked clothes and threw on fresh, clean garments. I examined myself in the mirror, adjusting my hair and checking for any blood that might be caked on my skin. Nothing I could see, though. I ran out and opened the door. "Hey, sis," I said, opening it just enough for her to see me. "Sorry, I completely forgot you were coming over." "That's cool," she said. Digging through her purse, she pulled out a piece of gum, unwrapped it, and began chewing. "You gonna invite me in or what?" She laughed, pushing me aside and bursting through the door. When she arrived in my living room, she stood there for a moment. I could tell by the way she stood with her hands on her hips and her head kinked to the side that she knew what transpired here hours ago. She turned to me with a strange look on her face, a strange look about her, and my stomach dropped. She looked back into the living room again and pointed with her thumb. "New couch?" she asked. Oh yeah, I started. I was caught off guard, but relief washed over me, showering me with a feeling of unease. I came up with a quick lie. Yeah, that damn cat scratched it up so bad. Tore a hole right in the back of it. Just picked that up yesterday. I walked over to the couch and plopped down, keeping a close eye on Trina as I did so. She paused for a moment, confusion painted on her face. Then she began walking through the room, seemingly looking for something. My heart began to race as the panic once again set in. A bead of sweat formed on my brow that I quickly wiped away with the sleeve of my shirt. Oh, I don't think you guys can read that. She made her way through the dining room, into the kitchen, and back into the living room. She made her way through the dining room, into the kitchen, and back around into the living room. She looked back at me with an expression of both concern and confusion before saying the last thing she would ever say. You don't have a cat. Dang, that's the end of the story. Yeah, it's definitely the Ambien, dude. This guy's OP did it, dude. That's my prognosis, my diet, Jesus Christ. Did you guys hear that? That was my cat. He's murdering all my, man, this story was okay. Like I don't know. It was cool up until like his cat murdered his neighbor. And like that's where I kind of was like, all right, I'm still gonna give this a shot. And to be fair, I'll give this a 5. Like, it wasn't like, it wasn't great, you know, but it wasn't written. I don't know. I could at least read it. It was fun to read. It just wasn't very. There wasn't a lot going on for me. Like there was no reason for me to really care, you know, because I'm like, I don't know who is, like, he's like, oh, it's my neighbor. I don't know who your neighbor is. Like, we had no, like, prior interaction with the neighbor, so it's like, it's just kind of like, oh, here's this person. It could have just been any person. It'd probably be more engaging if it was a person you didn't even know, because it's, at least in that way, the reader and the protagonist can sort of relate in that sort of way, where, yeah, because like the neighbor having a name doesn't really matter, or it being his neighbor doesn't really have any bearing on anything, because neighbor's not important. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, a lot of this didn't have any bang to it, and again, like good horror, you know, like you kind of try to have like your main characters sort of act in as close to a cohesive or like reasonable sense as that you can, or at least provide reasoning for why they're doing irrational things. And like I still can't, like I don't know why he'd be like, oh, the police won't believe, because it's like there's no reason for them, like, because that's why us having no information on him and his neighbor, like how their relationship, like that's why there's just like a disconnect there, because it was like they hated each other, and like they'd be like, okay, well, like they know we've had like previous altercations or something, like we've been in a fist fight or something, and we both got arrested for it. It's like, well, then you have like there's like, okay, well, now I guess I can kind of see how you'd be like, okay, they're not gonna believe that I didn't kill this dude, because we have a very like notable and like recorded tension between us, and there's your motive, you know. Like there's no reason that the police wouldn't just, he'd be like, yo dude, like I don't know what the deal with this is, like, you know, yeah, they're gonna look at you kind of funny, but there's no incriminating evidence, and so he does the most incriminating thing he can, just sticks a dead body in his car. So that's, I don't know, there was a lot of things, and there's no reason for him to think or act that way, you know. So it was a real hard stretch for me to kind of like suspend my disbelief in that way. So that's why this story gets like a 5. Besides that, like the story, I don't know, it just didn't really do anything for me. Like a lot of like the evidence for, hey, there's something up with this cat, really didn't match up with me, because I'm like, maybe this dude never really had a cat before, because a lot of this is pretty basic, you know, new cat things you deal with. But besides that, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the story at least more than I did. And if you didn't enjoy the story, be sure to leave your thoughts about it below. Like, you know, we can have a discussion about it. That's basically the function of this series, is for us to have discussions about, you know, stories I read. I would like to thank John Thomas 2692 again, however, for writing the story, because it was enjoyable, and it was at least put together, and it wasn't a slog to read. So thank you for that. Your writing style is interesting. It flows very well, so I'll give it that. Besides that, I'm probably gonna get going soon. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. If you guys haven't already, like and comment on the video, or at least subscribe to my channel, if you're interested in content like this, if you want to see more Bodied by the Internet, shoot me a comment down below. Be like, hey bro, more Bodied by the Internet, or hey dude, you should check out this story. I think you dig it, or whatever. You know, like, just, you know, just talk to me. I like talking to you guys. Another thing I would like to request from you is, you know, if you have a Twitch account, follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nathan_Crash. There's a link in the description. Please check it out. It means a ton. You're doing me a ginormous favor because you're helping me become affiliate by doing so. You hang out and talk with me. Again, I'll be doing Bodied by the Internet live, probably weekly, maybe bi-weekly. I think in bi-weekly is a more consistent way of looking at things, but I'll try to do it weekly. What else is there? That's basically it. Check out, you know, if you're interested in the gameplay side of things, check out the Bodied by the Internet series, or not Bodied by, just the Bodied by series on my channel. I get bodied by a variety of games, and then there's the boys get bodied or we get bodied. That's the series where I get bodied with a friend. I basically play video games with my friend Chris, and we give our thoughts and stuff, and we have little discussions, and we basically pee our pants, because a lot of times we end up playing horror games, oddly enough. But that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I hope you have a wonderful night, day, whatever it is, wherever you are. Just have a good one, and try not to get bodied. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.